Hello, everybody. It's Lily. I am in the office today alone, still missing you all. And I wanted to reach out today to talk to you a little bit about the lungs. The lungs have been weighing really heavily on our collective consciousness right now for understandable reasons. And I'm noticing with that a degree of hypervigilance that's happening. I can speak for myself that I'm hyper attuned to every little thing that I'm feeling in my lungs. If I feel a little tightness in my chest or a little heaviness, there's this voice that says, "Uh-oh, um, am I okay?" And there's this kind of constant monitoring of "Am I okay? Am I okay?" Um, Coupled with that, it's springtime in Baltimore, and so many of us are experiencing allergies right now, and allergies can create a little tightness in the chest. Likewise, this is a time of heightened stress, and many of us are feeling more anxiety than usual. And for many people, anxiety also lands in the chest as a tightness or a burning sensation. So the question is, how can we move through this time and bear what we need to bear with a degree of grace and ease? And also, how can we support our lungs to move through this time? So, to answer that question, I want to talk a little bit about the way the lungs are viewed in Chinese medicine. Um, every organ system in the body has an emotion that's associated with that organ system, according to Chinese medicine. And so, for the lungs, the emotion that's associated with the lungs is grief. And I think it's interesting to think about how many cultures have some kind of ritualized way of grieving that involves the lungs. So, whether it's keening or wailing, many cultures have this ritualized way of grieving that helps to move that chi that has stagnated in the lungs as a result of the grief that the people are feeling. This is a time of collective grief for us as well, whether we're grieving the loss of a job, the loss of a community, the loss of touch. Many of us who live alone have no access to touch right now, and that can be really difficult. And we're all dealing with the potential grief over the loss of a loved one. And so there's a lot that's kind of weighing on our chest right now. So thinking about ways to support that, the first thing the first thing that I've noticed is just simply by observing what's going on in my household right now. So I have two kids home from college who are doing college online right now, and I have a husband home from work who's working online right now, and I'm home not working, and all of us are on our computers and we're typing, and the kids are typing papers, and my husband is typing work emails, and I'm Googling COVID-19. Actually, everybody's Googling COVID-19. And if you look at my body right now, we are all hunched over our computers and collapsed completely in our chest. There's this contraction and this collapsing. That's not good for your lungs. You can even hear it in my voice. Like if I'm talking right now, you can kind of hear how my lungs are like strained. So the very first thing that we can do to support our lungs is to step away from the computer and to open up our chest and to open our arms and think of Julie Andrews. But seriously, we don't usually need to be quite so vigilant about this because usually we are out in the world moving around. We leave the house to go to work. We leave work to go to yoga class or to wherever it is that we go that's shut down right now. And so there's a lot of movement that's typically built into our life that isn't automatically built into our life right now. So it's important to be very intentional about that and to do whatever you can to open your chest, whether that's yoga at home, whether that's, singing, whatever it is that helps to bring you from this position to that position. So that's the first thing. The second thing I would recommend, and to talk about this, I want to go back to this idea of the emotions associated with each organ system. It's not quite so simple as to say that grief is the emotion associated with the lungs, because all of our emotions have a dual nature to them. And so if you think of fear, if we're feeling fear, we also then have the capacity for courage. And all of our emotions have this dual nature. So when we're feeling grief, right in that moment, we also have the capacity for cherishing. Um, it's in that moment when we are about to lose something that we have the greatest acknowledgement of its value to us. And so, one thing we can do to support our lungs right now and the grief and the heaviness that we're feeling from that grief is to tune in intentionally to that other aspect of grief, which is that sense of awe and that sense of gratitude and that sense of acknowledgement and cherishing of what it is that we stand to lose. Um, and so for me, I notice, for instance, a good time to practice this can be first thing in the morning, because then you're kind of setting the tone for your day. So I'm noticing that when I wake up in the morning and I roll over in bed, one of the first thoughts I have is, right, COVID-19. And I'm trying to, right in that moment, follow that thought with all that I'm grateful for that day. And so, yes, there's the awareness of all that we're losing right now, but we can use that awareness to find our way back to that acknowledgement of all that we're cherishing right now, and to be very intentional about expressing gratitude for that as we are waking up in the morning and setting the tone for the day. And then the last thing that I'll talk about is a little bit related to that sense of gratitude, um, but it's the word inspiration. So breathing is not just a matter of oxygen. When we breathe in, we get oxygen, but we're also, the lungs in Chinese medicine speak to our capacity for inspiration. And if you think of that word inspiration, it literally means to breathe in, to inspire. And so something we can do right now is to be much more intentional about tapping in to those things that give us, that reconnect us with a sense of inspiration. So while we're online, like Googling COVID-19, we can be using that same computer to pull up a song that we love that we can play while we're making dinner, or that we can pull up an album that we love and have a dance party in the kitchen with the kids, or whatever it is that connects you back to that sense of inspiration, will be really important to support your lungs. So those are 3 things that you can do. I miss you so much. I'm grateful for all of you. I think about you every day, and I'm thinking about ways that I can continue to support you from a distance. So on that note, I will leave you with Julie Andrews. Thank you.